You know exactly what you need to do. You know what would change your life: wake up earlier, eat better, save money, walk away from the relationship that's quietly killing you. You know. And yet, you don't do it. You find yourself back where you started, frustrated, guilty, and wondering what's wrong with you. Why is it that you can see the mountains so clearly, but every time you try to climb it, something inside you pulls you back down? Here's the uncomfortable truth: the mountain is you. Change feels so hard not because the world is against you, but because you are divided against yourself. The battle isn't happening out there in your career, your relationships, or your circumstances. It's happening inside you. It's a civil war between who you are right now and who you are destined to become. And that war is exhausting. Every time you try to rise, your subconscious pulls the emergency brake. Every time you take a step toward growth, an old part of you whispers, "Stay where it's safe." You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're simply loyal to a version of yourself that believes comfort equals safety. But comfort is not safety. Comfort is the slow poison that keeps you small. Change feels like death because in some ways, it is. It's the death of who you used to be, the end of the familiar, even if the familiar is painful. You are grieving your own old identity. That's why it hurts so much. That's why progress feels like loss before it feels like liberation. The truth is, transformation isn't just about building new habits. It's about burying old selves, the one who settled, who doubted, who feared. And that burial is sacred work. So the next time you ask yourself, "Why can't I change?" remember this: your resistance is not weakness. It's evidence that you are standing at the threshold of a new life. The mountain you're facing isn't blocking your path. The mountain is your path. And once you understand that, everything changes. Self-sabotage is not a failure. Here's the truth that most people never understand: self-sabotage isn't proof that you're broken. It's proof that you're protecting yourself. Every time you procrastinate, avoid the hard conversation, or retreat into old habits, it's not because you're weak, it's because somewhere deep inside, your mind believes it's keeping you safe. Your subconscious doesn't care about your dreams, it cares about your survival. And survival is built on what's familiar, not what's possible. Think about that. You could be miserable in your current job, your relationship, your body, and still, your mind will fight like hell to keep you there. Why? Because you've survived it. It knows the rules of this pain. But step into the unknown, into success, visibility, risk, and suddenly, alarms go off. We've never been here before. This is dangerous. So you self-sabotage. You miss deadlines. You pick fights. You find reasons to quit. You do it not because you hate yourself, but because some part of you is loyal to the version of you that once needed protection. Self-sabotage is not rebellion. It's misplaced loyalty. The real battle isn't between success and failure, it's between safety and expansion. The conscious mind says, "I want to change." The subconscious says, "Change means danger." This conflict creates paralysis, that frustrating feeling of wanting two opposite things at once. You want to be free, but you also want to stay safe. You want to move forward, but you also want to remain familiar. This is the invisible tug-of-war that keeps you looping the same patterns. Every time you start to make progress, your subconscious whispers, "Don't go too far. Don't outgrow what you know." But here's the awakening: your subconscious doesn't need to be your enemy. It just needs to be retrained. You have to teach it that growth is not death, it's rebirth. That success doesn't mean danger, it means safety at a higher level. When you begin to understand that your resistance is just an outdated defense mechanism, you stop fighting yourself. You stop labeling your avoidance as laziness and start seeing it as fear that simply needs reassurance. So the next time you catch yourself sabotaging your own progress, don't ask, "What's wrong with me?" Ask, "What part of me is trying to feel safe right now?" Because when you can identify that part, when you can comfort it, reparent it, and remind it that you are no longer the same person who needed those defenses, you'll finally be free to climb. And that's when the mountain starts to move. Your comfort zone is a cemetery. Everyone tells you to find your comfort zone, but here's the painful truth: your comfort zone is not comfort, it's a cemetery for your potential. It's the quiet, padded room where dreams go to die, disguised as safety. You've been taught to believe that discomfort is a red flag, that stress, fear, and uncertainty mean something's wrong. But discomfort isn't danger. It's data. It's your body whispering, "We're growing." Your comfort zone was built by your past, by every decision you made to avoid pain. And every time you stay there, you reinforce an invisible wall around yourself. It's soft. It's familiar. But it's also suffocating. You can't breathe deeply in a life that's too small for your soul. The truth is, pain is unavoidable. But you get to choose your kind of pain. The temporary pain of growth, the sore muscles, the tough conversations, the moments of doubt is the price of evolution. The permanent pain of stagnation, regret, frustration, and quiet resentment is the cost of staying the same. One hurts now. The other hurts forever. And if you listen closely, your soul already knows which one you've been choosing. Every time you feel that restless ache, that low hum of "I was meant for more," that's not dissatisfaction, that's life trying to wake you up. That's your potential pounding on the walls of your comfort zone, begging to be released. But here's the paradox: leaving your comfort zone doesn't mean abandoning safety. It means redefining it. True safety isn't found in what's familiar. It's found in your ability to adapt, to trust yourself, to handle whatever comes. You can't control life, but you can build a version of yourself strong enough to meet it head on. So start choosing the kind of pain that builds you, not the kind that buries you. Take the cold shower. Speak your truth. Write the first page. Say no when it's uncomfortable. Each act of discomfort is a seed of confidence, proof that you are no longer ruled by fear. Because the moment you start craving growth more than comfort, your old life starts to crumble. And in that rubble, your real life begins. The comfort zone will always call you back, whispering promises of safety. But remember this: safety is not the absence of risk, it's the presence of strength. The attachment to old identities. Here's the secret no one tells you: you're not fighting change, you're fighting the death of who you used to be. Every time you try to evolve, every time you take a step toward a better version of yourself, your old identity panics. Because change isn't just about new habits or new goals, it's about grieving an old version of you. The version who found safety and control, who survived through overthinking, who believed love had to be earned, who was small to stay accepted. You see, your subconscious doesn't care about happiness, it cares about familiarity. It will protect what feels known, even if that known is misery. That's why you keep repeating the same patterns, the same arguments, the same toxic relationships, the same fears that wrap around your dreams like chains. The person you've been isn't bad, they were just trying to keep you safe. But now, safety has become the very thing holding you hostage. Think about it. How many times have you sabotaged opportunities because success would force you to outgrow the identity you built to survive? The identity that says, "I'm not enough." The one that thrives on chaos because peace feels foreign. The one that equates love with struggle because ease feels suspicious. You cannot become your highest self while remaining loyal to the version of you that was built to endure pain. This is where most people get stuck, not because they lack discipline, but because they haven't learned to let go. Change is a process of emotional detachment. It's about saying, "Thank you for protecting me, but I don't need you anymore." You have to grieve the old patterns, the old coping mechanisms, the old beliefs. You have to let yourself feel the loss of who you were, even if that person was never truly happy. Because that version of you carried you this far. They were the bridge between your past and your potential. But they cannot walk with you into your future. When you start to change, your mind will try to negotiate. Maybe I can grow without letting go. Maybe I can stay safe and evolve at the same time. But you can't. Growth is separation. It's walking away from everything that no longer fits, the friendships that drain you, the habits that numb you, the beliefs that tell you you're unworthy. It's mourning the comfort of who you were while celebrating the discomfort of who you're becoming. And yes, it hurts. You will feel lonely. You will feel lost. But that emptiness isn't a sign that something's wrong, it's a sign that space is being created for something new. You're not lost, you're in between selves. The moment you accept that identity death is not failure but transformation, you stop clinging to the past and start building a self that can breathe in freedom. You don't need to find a new you. You're already in there, buried beneath the armor of old beliefs. So ask yourself, what identity am I still protecting that's no longer protecting me? Because once you dare to release it, you'll realize the mountain was never outside of you. It was the weight of who you no longer need to be. Reparenting your inner child. Here's where the real transformation begins, not with strategy, but with softness. Because at the heart of every pattern of self-sabotage lives a younger version of you who's still waiting to feel safe. When Brianna Wiest says the mountain is you, she's really saying that the obstacles you face are the echoes of unmet needs from your past. Every time you procrastinate, avoid, or lash out, it's not because you're lazy or weak, it's because your inner child is scared. Scared of failure. Scared of rejection. Scared of being seen. That child learned to survive by pleasing others, staying quiet, or lowering their expectations. And now, as an adult, you call it perfectionism, self-doubt, or lack of motivation. But those are just adult words for old wounds. Reparenting means stepping in as the parent your younger self needed, calm, compassionate, and unconditionally accepting. It means creating safety within yourself so your subconscious no longer needs to sabotage you to feel protected. When you catch yourself procrastinating, don't say, "What's wrong with me?" Instead, ask, "What part of me feels unsafe right now?" Maybe you're afraid that success will make people leave you. Maybe you're scared that doing your best still won't be enough. Whatever it is, meet that fear with understanding, not judgment. Because the truth is, you cannot hate yourself into change. You can only love yourself into evolution. Reparenting your inner child begins with 3 simple, powerful acts. 1. Self-validation. Stop waiting for others to approve of your choices. Every time you second-guess your path, whisper to yourself, "It's okay. I'm proud of you." You're teaching your nervous system that it's safe to take action without applause. 2. Emotional permission. Allow yourself to feel even the messy emotions. Anger, jealousy, Grief, these are not signs of weakness, they are signals from the parts of you that still believe love is conditional. Sit with them. Listen. That's how healing begins. 3. Boundaries as love. Boundaries are not walls, they're doors that open toward peace. When you say no to chaos, to overextending, to disrespect, you're showing your inner child that their needs matter. That they are finally safe in your care. Reparenting is not a one-time act. It's a daily practice of choosing gentleness over guilt. You'll mess up, fall back, repeat old patterns, but now you'll notice. And noticing is power. Because awareness means you've stopped identifying with the wound and started observing it. You've shifted from being in the pain to witnessing it. And that's the first sign of emotional maturity, the moment you realize, I'm no longer the child who was hurt, I'm the adult who can heal them. Your job isn't to erase the past, it's to integrate it. To take that wounded child by the hand and say, you don't have to be afraid anymore. I've got you now. When you start to live like that, when you respond to fear with compassion instead of criticism, something miraculous happens. The mountain that once felt impossible begins to crumble, not because it got smaller, but because you grew strong enough to climb it. You stop reacting from the place of pain and start creating from the place of peace. And that's when change stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like freedom. The 3 pillars of surrender. At some point in your climb, you'll realize something powerful. You can't conquer the mountain by force. You can't outthink your fear, outwork your pain, or outrun your doubt. You have to surrender not to defeat, but to truth. Surrender is not giving up. It's giving in to reality, to acceptance, to the flow of life that's been trying to teach you all along. It's the moment you stop trying to control the storm and instead learn how to walk in the rain. This kind of surrender is built on 3 pillars. They are not steps you check off, they're shifts in consciousness that reshape the way you live, breathe, and grow. 1. Radical acceptance. Radical acceptance means looking your struggle straight in the eyes and saying, this is where I am. And that's okay. It's not denial, and it's not resignation. It's truth without judgment. Because the more you resist your current state, the more power you give it. Every time you say, I shouldn't feel this way, you're fighting a battle you can't win, you're rejecting yourself. Acceptance is the opposite. It's saying, I feel lost right now, but that doesn't mean I'm broken. I'm learning. I'm becoming. That simple shift from resistance to acceptance turns pain into data. You stop seeing your emotions as enemies and start reading them as messages. The anxiety says, I'm afraid of uncertainty. The sadness says, I'm grieving what could have been. The anger says, I need to protect my boundaries. When you listen instead of fight, the chaos starts to quiet down. 2. Emotional intelligence. This pillar is the art of decoding your inner weather. It's learning to name your feelings without becoming them. Most people either suppress emotions or drown in them. But emotional intelligence is the balance, feeling deeply, yet staying grounded. When you're anxious, you don't spiral, you breathe. When you're hurt, you don't lash out, you observe. Think of emotions as waves. You can't stop them from coming, but you can learn to surf. The key is awareness, noticing the rise and fall without judgment. Because emotions are not proof of failure, they're proof of being alive. The more you understand your emotions, the less they control you. You begin to act from consciousness, not compulsion. That's what freedom actually feels like, choosing your response instead of reacting from your wound. 3. Intentional detachment. This is perhaps the hardest pillar to build. Intentional detachment doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you stop clinging. You stop tying your self-worth to the outcome. You stop letting failure define your identity. You start doing things for growth, not validation. When you detach, you create space between your actions and your ego. You write, not for approval, but for truth. You love, not for security, but for connection. You pursue success, not to prove your worth, but to express your potential. Detachment gives you freedom from the noise of judgment, yours and everyone else's. You realize you don't need the world to clap for you. The act of becoming is the applause. That's the paradox of surrender. The moment you stop forcing life to happen, it begins to unfold naturally. And you finally understand what Brianna Wiest meant when she wrote, "You are the mountain." Because the mountain was never something to conquer, it was something to understand. The peak was never outside of you. It was inside, waiting for you to stop fighting, start listening, and rise. Choosing the constructive pain. Every transformation carries a toll. Growth always demands a price, not in money, but in discomfort. And the people who create extraordinary lives are not those who avoid pain, they are the ones who choose the right kind of pain. You see, pain is inevitable. The pain of discipline, or the pain of regret. The pain of confronting your truth, or the pain of running from it. The pain of healing, or the pain of staying wounded. The universe never offers a painless path, only a purposeful one. When you avoid the discomfort of growth, you choose the permanence of stagnation. You choose to stay in the same patterns, the same emotional loops, the same stories that have quietly suffocated your potential for years. Because staying the same doesn't feel like dying, it feels like safety. But safety, when overextended, becomes a coffin lined with your unrealized dreams. Brianna Wiest writes, "You are not here to feel comfortable. You are here to evolve." And that single sentence holds the power to change everything. Because once you accept that pain is part of the evolution process, you stop running from it. You begin to use it. Think about the gym. You don't lift weights because you enjoy the strain, you do it because the tension builds strength. Growth works the same way. The discomfort you feel when you challenge yourself is data, not danger. It's proof that your old limitations are being stretched to fit the size of your new self. So the question isn't, how do I avoid pain? The question is, which pain will I choose? When you procrastinate on your dreams, you choose the quiet pain of regret. When you confront your fears and take action, you choose the temporary pain of courage. One lasts a moment. The other lasts a lifetime. The truth is, your future self is watching every decision you make today. And one day, you'll either thank yourself for enduring the right kind of pain or resent yourself for choosing comfort over courage. To break free, you must start reframing pain as a teacher, not a punishment. The pain of learning something new is teaching you adaptability. The pain of being alone is teaching you self-reliance. The pain of letting go is teaching you trust. Every ache, every sting, every internal storm has a message. This is what it feels like to become. So the next time you face that edge, the moment where it's easier to quit, to scroll, to avoid, pause and ask yourself, is this the pain that frees me, or the pain that chains me? The answer will reveal everything. Because freedom isn't found in escaping discomfort. It's found in embracing the kind of discomfort that forges strength, wisdom, and peace. This is the truth that will set you free. The mountain was never meant to be easy. It was meant to be meaningful. The climb is where you shed everything you are not, so that what remains is everything you were meant to be. And when you finally stop running from the pain and start rising through it, you realize something miraculous: the mountain doesn't disappear. It transforms into a mirror, reflecting back the strength that was inside you all along. So now, you understand why change feels so impossibly hard. It's not because you're broken. It's because you are in the middle of becoming. The war you've been fighting isn't with the world, it's with your own reflection, the version of you that clings to safety, comfort, and the illusion of control. But here's the liberating truth: the moment you stop resisting that battle and start listening to it, everything begins to shift. The mountain before you was never your punishment. It was your teacher. It was built from every moment you ignored your intuition, every time you said maybe later, every time you chose comfort over truth. It's a monument to your hesitation, but it's also the map to your freedom. Every rock on that mountain represents a fear you can overcome, a limitation you can dissolve, a story you can rewrite. And when you finally decide to climb, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary, something incredible happens. The very resistance that once terrified you becomes the resistance that refines you. You begin to realize that the point of life was never to avoid your mountains. It was to use them as stepping stones toward the highest version of yourself. Look back for a moment. Every time you've grown, it came after you faced discomfort. After you said no when your past begged you to say yes. After you walked away from what was familiar, even when it hurt. The pattern has always been there. Change hurts, but staying the same destroys you quietly. So let this be the moment you choose your pain consciously. Let this be the moment you finally surrender to growth. Not by forcing it, not by fighting it, but by trusting that the mountain is within you for a reason. You were never meant to live a small, safe life. You were meant to rise, to meet the magnitude of your potential. Every person watching this has a mountain, a dream that scares them, a truth they've been avoiding, a version of themselves they know they're capable of becoming. And maybe, until now, you thought you had to wait for the perfect timing, the perfect confidence, or the perfect plan. But you don't. The mountain doesn't shrink with time. It only grows steeper the longer you wait. So climb. Even if you don't feel ready. Even if your legs shake and your heart doubts. Because the moment you take that first step, that moment you move in spite of fear, is the moment the climb becomes possible. And somewhere near the summit, you'll look back and realize something profound: you were never fighting the mountain. You were building yourself. The truth that will set you free isn't found in perfection, it's found in persistence. In choosing, every single day, to meet your resistance with compassion, your fear with understanding, and your growth with faith. You are the mountain. You are also the climber. And the moment you accept both, you are free. Before this day ends, write down one old identity, one belief, one label, one fear that you are ready to lay to rest. And then write down one small action that represents your first step up the mountain. Because the climb doesn't begin when you feel ready. It begins when you decide you're done staying at the bottom.